And I want to start by just going around the room, introducing yourselves, and say your name, what you do for an occupation, and what brought you to this healthy life night of cancer versus immunity. You want to start us off, Craig?
My name is Craig Miller. I've been with Longevity for about a year and a half. Originally from North Dakota, spent most of my life in Colorado, and I'm kind of a joint residence now. And Shar has invited me to come and attend some of their meetings, and so I've enjoyed doing that. So that's what brought me here, is an invitation from you. So thank you.
Oh, that's good. I'm Kathy Snyder. I'm a missionary in Guatemala. I'm home for a little while, and I came because my mother. But I also am interested in immune systems and fighting, illness. So I'm here because of my mom, but I'm here for you too. Absolutely.
My name is Joelle Snyder, and I have ovarian cancer, and I'm doing very well. But I'm frightened once I start getting off the chemo. I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing to keep me healthy. So I've heard some news on TV that says that they really think that the immune system is going to probably be one of the newer things to fight cancer. So I'm checking that out.
Great. Wonderful.
I'm Kate Shaler. I have an adult foster care home. I take care of elderly people. And I was just diagnosed not so long ago with breast cancer. I've had surgery, and now I'm going through radiation. I'm Amy Schnabby, and I got to come to it last time. I am kind of in longevity, but I'm mainly in it because I like products that are going to try to help me, but I don't help myself enough. And I have active ovarian cancer that has gone into my lymph. And I am supposed to be taking care of myself because the doctors aren't doing anything with me right now. But I went into a trial thing, and they say maybe liver cancer therapy will work on me. So that the medical society would pay for more drugs to be put in my body. And I'm really afraid of it. I would rather do something with the immune system.
Absolutely.
I'm Nettie Metzger, and I'm a retired outreach worker for the Senior Center in Lanigan and Lanigan. I was there for 24 years. I'm retired now. I came to take just to find out more about the immune system.
Good. And I'm Steve Johnson. I am right now a hairstylist, and I kind of be a hairstylist. Used to be a hairstylist, but I'm in the longevity business, and I like to get my business up and running, and I'm here to learn more about anything that I can. So,
Super. And I'm Shar. We have so much cancer on both sides of my family. We have aunts and uncles that have, suffered through it and passed away. I have cousins even. And we just lost my dad last year. And if I would have known about something like this is so exciting that we have something to offer people. That's not just something that, he's going to explain. It's not just something that, somebody threw out there. It's been researched over and over. And so that really excites me because I want to help a lot of people with prevention too. Once you have it, I'm so excited that we can help you with it. But to help all the people just before it even, and I'm totally excited to have AJ. As you can see, he has a wealth of information, brilliant man. He's a researcher, immunologist for 20 years. He's been an author, and he has manufactured our beta-glucan products. And I'm just totally appreciative that he is willing to do this live webinar. He's from South Carolina, and taking his time to do that, to be live in my home. So thank you so much, AJ, and take it away.
Well, thank each and every one of you for being involved, and I hope, as I do each time I address a group, that I'm able to leave some pearl of wisdom with you, so that you can help yourself better. That as you become better educated, you'll be able to reach out and help other people, friends, family, loved ones, co-workers. And there's great reward in that. Reward beyond any kind of compensation through money, but just to see people as I do, stay in contact with people as I do, hear from their children as I do, and in some cases grandchildren, people who weren't supposed to be around from 18, 20 years ago. I still see them. I still get cards. New kids get born. All kind of things keep happening when you keep getting up in the morning and drawing breath and doing the best you can. So that's a great deal of the reward for me. Before moving forward, Shar, I want you to go ahead and play that first 5-minute video for me, okay? And let the people kind of get a feeling for where we're headed here.
Okay. This screen.
One of the things that's pretty much without dispute is that the immune system plays a big role in the prevention of disease. As a matter of fact, the immune system is really your first line of defense against pathogens, against the bad guys that come in and try to invade your body and make you sick.
So cancer, first and foremost, is a problem with the immune system. You cannot have cancer if you have an intact immune system.
One of the things that I do is I begin to unimpede their immune system, because every cancer patient, their immune system has missed the cancer. So it has missed it. And so you have to unimpede their immune system, and then you have to stimulate it back into action.
With all our patients, whether it's cancer or any kind of chronic disease, it's always about lowering inflammation and improving and increasing the immune system response. Because your immune system has to fight, fix, and repair against anything.
It'd be logical to argue that in an intact immune system, there would be no room for cancer.
The immune system can do its job to surveil for foreign substances and foreign bodies and get rid of that, and it can keep cancer at bay. When the immune system gets disrupted, I think that's when bad things start happening to us.
Many people, and I want to see cancer as basically a disease of the immune system. Especially in our modern world, I don't think there's any way you're going to stop cells firing off and going wrong and turning into rogue cells. It's just too many toxins. But a good immune system will pick them up very quickly and eliminate them. So in a very strong sense, cancer is a disease of the immune system. So you want to do everything in your power to help the immune system. That means, the right kind of nutrients that will help it. It also means removing the stresses that will stop it working.
Antibiotics, right? Antibiotics can't cure anything. They can bring down the number, right, the cell count, such that then your immune system can take over, but it's your immune system that does the curing. We have to understand that the thing that cures cancer is your immune system.
See, what most people don't realize is all of us have cancer cells. We're all developing them every single day. Typically, our immune system would hunt them down and regulate them. However, when we've got immune deficiencies, which is another problem with sugar, it weakens our body's innate immune system. And so when that happens, now these cancer cells will start to grow without being checked, being kept in check by our body's natural immune response.
Another thing that sugar does, and most people don't know about, is the average amount of sugar in one can of, let's say, Coca-Cola. It's probably 9 or 10 teaspoons of sugar in there. That's enough sugar to effectively shut down a minimum of 50% of your immune system for 4 hours. One 12-ounce Coke. If you're a cancer patient, can you afford that? Since the immune system is the only thing that can heal you, we simply can't afford that. No doctor has ever healed anyone, anything in the history of the world. The human immune system heals. And that's the only thing that heals.
To overcome cancer, to stop it before it begins, or to reverse it once you've contracted it, I'm pretty much convinced the immune system is going to have to be a major player. Your immune system is really the only thing that stands between you and all those things in you, on you, and around you trying to get you all the time.
So a cancer patient may have the best immune system according to white blood cells, T cells, lymphocytes, natural killer cells, but is that immune system recognizing and able to penetrate a cancer stem cell? That's the question.
The immune system is powerful. It's the first line of defense that we have against bacteria, viruses, pathogens, and cancer cells. And what a lot of people don't realize is that the immune system is powerful. It has over hundreds of functions in the body, and there are billions of immune cells at your disposal every day.
Without nutrition, you're fighting with no weapons. Without your immune system, you're fighting with no army.
So a lot of times you can give chemotherapy, the tumor goes away, but you also destroy the immune system, then the cancer comes back with a vengeance. That's how you get rid of cancer, through your immune system, through systems that are already within you that have failed. So what we have to do is get them to work again. And that difference has made a tremendous difference in the results.
And there's so many things that go wrong. It's amazing that we survive it all, but that's a testament to the creator, that we've been created to withstand so much assault. But we have a limit. And that limit, of course, is when the toxins overwhelm our ability to deal with them, the accumulation can no longer be held in check. Then we have that dysregulation and these cells proliferate, and our immune system no longer has the strength and integrity to be that barrier, to fight it off, to keep it in check.
That you could be swimming in bugs. In fact, sitting in this room right here, how many bugs do you think are in the air in this massive hotel and the carpeting? And if you live on a farm and you're going out and petting animals and all of that, you are not succumbing to all of these viruses and bacteria that are around you if you are healthy from the inside out. And your immune system does what it is God intended it to do and what we were humanly designed to do.
I lost my parents to cancer, and it really literally devastated me for a long time. But it's because of that story, it's because of what happened to me that inspired me to write the books on cancer and to do this research, and now to do the series, The Quest for the Cures continues.
Thank you, Sean. This video is just a little over 5 minutes long, and basically it's snippets from several hours of interviews. My particular interview, for example, was over 2 hours long, but you saw just a few seconds of it. The same, each and every one of those people, classically trained medical doctors, DOs, some of them oncologists, chiropractors, homeopaths, across the spectrum, people expert, each and every one in their field. Some of them more expert, for example, in removing heavy metals. Some of them more expert in helping you deal with environmental toxins. Some of them with metabolic issues. But they all swirl around, and the center of what they're trying to accomplish is getting the immune system working the way that it's supposed to be working. As one of them so aptly put it, the human body cannot heal itself. The human body, your organs, your flesh, your bones, they can't protect themselves. They require the immune system. And so when you look at this 5-minute video, you say, well, now, is cancer the problem? No, cancer is not the problem. The problem is the immune system, or lack thereof, an effective immune response. Just like when you go to the dentist and you've got a cavity. Is the cavity the problem? Well, he would have you think so, and he's going to charge you to deal with that cavity. Well, what's the real problem? The problem is bacteria that was allowed to maintain its place and secreted compounds that ate through the enamel and created this little hole in your tooth. And so treating the problem by way of the side effect and ignoring the underlying cause, to me, doesn't make good sense. So there's really no debate anymore. There might have been 50, 75 years ago, But there's no debate today that the immune system, when it is sufficient, and it is exactly correct what one of the doctors talked about, is you can be going to a doctor on a regular basis for healthy checkups. They draw your blood, and the numbers of white blood cells and other cells, well, they're all normal. So I guarantee you, if you went and talked to your doctor, looking at what test he's run, he's going to say, well, there's nothing wrong with your immune system. Well, doctor, why do I have cancer? Oh, well, nobody knows why we have cancer. Well, it's correct that we don't know what actually precipitates the beginning of the cancer. But where we are today is that 1 out of 2 men and 1 out of 3 women, according to the National Cancer Institute, according to the American Cancer Society, according to the Centers for Disease Control, the World Health Organization, everybody that keeps up with these numbers tells us that 1 out of 2 men and 1 out of 3 women will be challenged by cancer in their lifetime. Further, if those statistics weren't bad enough, if a person has had cancer, there is a higher statistical chance that they will have cancer again. Again, do we want to brush and floss our teeth? Or do we want to keep going to the dentist and getting our cavities filled? Do we want to continue to suffer being on the wrong side of these statistics with cancer? Or do we want to attend to the underlying, and I will maintain, the only defense you have against cancer, and that is your immune system? Now, one of the things, as I meet more and more of the folks with longevity, is, the mantra will give the body what it needs and the body will heal itself. And I've used the example fairly effectively with imagining that you're a sheep herder and you've got this great healthy flock of sheep that you feed the finest food, the finest water, you sing to them so that there's no stress, you lullaby them at night, you spend tremendous amounts of money on food supplements, and you decide you want to come and visit me here in South Carolina, go to Myrtle Beach for a long weekend. You go back home and your sheep are gone. But wait a minute now, you got sheep parts scattered all over the field. You got ears over here, feet over there, wool scattered. Well, what happened? Well, the critters came out of the woods, and the wolves and the coyotes and the other critters ate up all your well-fed, well-nourished, well-supplemented sheep. What you forgot was your sheepdog. Without the sheepdog, those sheep can't defend themselves. They can't even run fast. Okay? So not only do you have to have a sheepdog, though, because that's what your blood work will say, well, you got enough sheepdogs in your blood. The question is, have you done what you need to do to make sure that sheepdog is working the best that it can work to protect you the best that you can be protected? And that's really the question that we all have to ask. What have we done throughout our lives besides eat good food, take our supplements, say our prayers, and do all the things, that our moms and grandmoms told us to do? But in spite of all of that, not smoking, not drinking, not cursing, not staying out in the sun, not doing all the things that we've been told not to do the things we still end up with cancer in so many people. The question is why? Well, now you understand why. The why is that the immune system was not sufficient to meet the challenge. And that's true when each year you have 250,000 people who go to the hospital with the flu. You'll have anywhere from 20 to 30 to 40 million people just here in the United States die of the flu. Why didn't everybody die of the flu? Why didn't everybody go to the hospital, die of the flu? Well, again, same flu bug, different immune response. You have a classroom full of kids. Some kid comes in sneezing, coughing. A week or so later, half the class is out at the doctor's office, coughing and sneezing and whatever. But the other half sits there, breathing the same air, doing everything that the other half did. They're as healthy can be. What's the two different sides? Difference is the immune response. They all got immune systems, but the response to the challenge was sufficient with one group, but not sufficient with the other. So having clearly identified that, and I hope we have no real debate with this issue, because it's well documented now in the medical literature. Hopefully, you're seeing medical doctors who would agree that helping the immune system be all that it can be is as important as you flossing and brushing your teeth. If they don't necessarily agree with that, well, I'd ask them to figure out, well, why would I not support my immune system? That would be an interesting conversation. But with that, Shar, if you would, let's go ahead and play the next 2.5-minute video on mechanism of action. And it kind of goes into how we actually activate our immune system. Several of the doctors talked about that. You've got to get the heavy metals under control, your diet under control. All of those are important. You don't do this instead of, but you've got to be able to turn the switch on, because somehow, all the lights in the house are not working for you. And so we need to talk about how do we turn on, or how do we activate the immune response so that your immune system not isn't just there, but your sheepdog is really doing the job. So let's look at that 2.5-minute video, mechanism of action, Shar.
Oh, I have the wrong one.
The human immune system is a highly complex network of trillions of immune cells that protect the body from constant exposure to pathogens and disease. A.J. Lanigan is developing patented beta-glucan compounds that significantly enhance the immune system to fight a wide range of diseases. When taken orally, beta-glucan passes through the stomach and is the right size for uptake through the Peyer's patches, which are specialized regions in the small intestines. In the Peyer's patch, M cells pick up and transport the beta-glucan particles into the body and present them to innate immune cells called phagocytes. The phagocytes transport the beta-glucan to immune organs throughout the body via the lymphatic system. While in the immune organs, the phagocytes digest the beta-glucan into smaller fragments and slowly release soluble glucan molecules over a number of days. These molecules bind to neutrophils, macrophages, and NK cells via the complement receptor, priming them for activity. Activated by beta-glucan, the neutrophils and other immune cells now more quickly navigate to the site of a foreign challenge, a process known as chemotaxis. With the beta-glucan already present, the primed cells need to simply bind to the complement on a bacteria or virus cell to activate the enhanced killing ability of these immune cells. Neutrophils, however, are normally not involved in the fight against cancer because they do not recognize this abnormal human tissue as non-self. When antibodies bind to cancer cells and attract complement, the primed neutrophils now see them as non-self and begin killing them as if they were yeast. The result is a novel therapy that significantly increases the efficacy of monoclonal antibodies. This combination therapy engages a new arm of the immune system into the battle against cancer.
So with this 2.5-minute video, after we've identified what the problem is, not the cancer, but the lack of immune response to surveil, identify, attack, and eliminate cancer cells. And if you've got cancer, you certainly want your immune system finding cancer cells and killing them. Okay, that's a big deal. If you don't have cancer, you want that happening as well, so that you don't, again, end up on the wrong side of some of these statistics. So if you look at the immune system as an army's job is to kill stuff and blow stuff up. That's how it works. Otherwise, you just, you'd have grandmothers standing around guarding stuff. Nothing wrong with grandmothers. Grandmother with a good hot skillet could, do some damage. But, the bottom line is we have an army in our bodies to stand between us, and as I've coined the phrase, defend us against all those things in us, on us, and around us, trying to get us all the time. You have no other defense. Your eyes, your skin, your various organs, tissues, they have no defense. If you think you've got some defense, why don't you just sit out in the sun on Myrtle Beach for the course of the day and see how well your skin defends itself? Chemicals that are in our water, in our food, you get too many heavy metals, you get too many pesticides, fungicides, herbicides. See how long your liver lasts. Too much alcohol, smoking too many cigarettes. If you think your lungs and your other organs, kidneys and whatnot can defend themselves, well, keep loading up and you'll just see how tough you are. When you remove the immune system from the equation, one study years ago said if you flip the immune system switch so that it completely went away, the flesh would start leaving your bones in about 72 hours. If you ever seen a little baby bird fall out of its nest and it's lying there dead on the ground and come back a day or two later, what's left? Nothing. Maybe a little wisp of feathers, because nature has consumed it, because it lost all of its defense mechanisms. So understand that the immune system, whether you understand it or not, has to be attended to, just like you have to drink water, to breathe air, to survive. You have to maintain that immune system, because just by getting older, your immune system tends to just kind of wobble downwards. They call it immune senescence. And sooner or later, it just does not have the wherewithal to put up with the daily challenges that we all have for living here on this earth. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to click a little button here that'll allow me to share my screen, and I'm going to I'm not going to use a PowerPoint. I want to be able to go on the internet. All right, Sherry, you're going to have to let me know when you see what's going on my screen, okay?
Okay, right now it's
Okay, so you can see my screen, right?
there's like multiple screens, and now we can see ourselves.
Okay, very good. I may have to turn off that sound thing. How do we do that?
You want to kill the sound?
Yeah, well, not kill the sound. Seems like every time I talk, it goes through this multiple thing again.
Yeah, go ahead and put this down. Now,
All right.
Okay.
All right, are you seeing my browser?
Yep, we see it.
All right, we're going to type in, and you need to write this down, PubMed. PubMed is a search engine that is operated by the National Institutes of Health. This is what I'm showing you, your tax dollars at work. What PubMed does is it gives you a search engine that allows you to see every medical study that has been published in a respected journal anywhere in the world, going back like to the 60s. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to type in the search engine Glucan, Glucan, and click search. And can you see this number right here?
It's small, but it is 142,287.
Do you happen to remember what that number was the last time we did this, Shar?
It's in my notes.
I somehow felt it might be.
You know, I didn't write the exact number. I put 142,000.
Well, this number goes up literally on a daily basis. Can you see this bar chart over here on the side?
Yes.
Every time I click on a different bar, it gives you a different year. For example, in 1969, 2,765 new articles were published. And as we move forward, we see each and every year more and more and more articles. Last year, 2 years ago, 2013, over 6,300 brand new articles published on Glucan. The reason I show you this is because as we discuss this topic, this is not something that is of mild interest to the scientific and medical community. This is where the scientific and medical community goes to learn about new science. Doctors often subscribe to specific medical journals that are relevant to their area of expertise. But this search engine is available to everybody now. Now, 20 years ago, when I was in college, University of South Carolina Pharmacy School, we had to go to places called libraries. And we had to go back and pull out things called books and take them over to copying machines. And at about 10 cents a copy thousands and thousands of pages in the course of a year. And that's what you take home and study. Now I can do this with a click of a button. So understand that our history of this particular compound that we refer to as Glucan generically has over 140,000. And if we come back and do this tomorrow, the number will be bigger. Next week, much bigger. So now I'm going to have Glucan and I'm going to add to it cancer. Glucan and cancer. Can we read that number right here?
8,096.
Actually, 8,095.
Okay.
It'll probably be 96 by tomorrow. Okay. So here we see out of that 140,000 plus studies, work that's being done on glucans relevant to cancer. So again, we're not talking about some vague vitamin or mineral or amino acid or herbal compound. We're talking about something that is being intensely studied. And other people, other scientists, other medical doctors, other researchers read this work and they ask new questions, which spawns even more research. That's why research is done. And again, you see here, more and more research done each and every year moving forward. So I'm going to go and change now and look at another link, and that is vitawithimmunity.com. Rather than you having to wrestle through 140,000 plus articles, what we've done here is given you a nice, neat little file where you can go and see that 5-minute video as often as you'd like. The 2.5-minute mechanism of action as often as you'd like. You'll be able to see a featured article. Can you read that to us, Shar?
Anti-inflammatory effects of B-glucan in cancer-related fatigue.
It has been demonstrated that 100% of the people, and I would not challenge this with the folks in the room, but I think if I did, they would say, yeah, while I was going through my cancer treatments, I was definitely fatigued. This research article, and it is extensive, you know, it's quite a number of pages, and it goes through a study, not just on glucan, but on the glucan that's in the bottles that Longevity offers. We look at another area here I want to take you to. I'll just go over here to articles, and then we come down here to the one that says topic index, and you click on it. We scroll down to the bottom, and this is the article that I just looked at that we're featuring because it just came out a week or so ago. Anti-inflammatory effects on glucan. You click on the link, there's the study. Okay? Now, once I come out of that article, I can go up a little bit, and here's another article that was published in the Journal of Tumor. And in that journal article, which just came out in April, it talks about a condition known as hematopoiesis. That's kind of a tricky word. What hematopoiesis means is when people are going through things like chemo and radiation and so forth, often their immune cells or their white cell counts drop. And sometimes they get so dangerously low, the doctor has to actually discontinue. So the doctors all of a sudden then are worried about the condition of your immune system. And the studies that I'm showing you here, by the way, are double-blinded placebo human studies. Again, using the product, not something like it, not somebody else's research on somebody else's product, but what's in our bottles. We go up here a little bit further. Here's another one, anti-cancer research, where we actually compare a wide variety of different immune compounds side by side and see how they perform. And how many people go out and buy vitamin C thinking it's going to help your immune system? Or ginseng, or cat's claw, or echinacea, astragalus, curcumin. Now, as you look at this chart, a little confusing to start with, but you see these lines right here? These lines, each pair of lines, is actually measuring two different kinds of immune cells, neutrophils and macrophages. These are two key cells as part of your frontline defense. Now, PBS, you know what that is? That's salt water. So this is a normal, healthy immune response if you just do salt water. Look at all these things over here. Vitamin C, ginseng, cat's claw, chlorella, echinacea, ellagic acid. They don't do much better than salt water, do they? So the next time you get ready to go out and buy some of this stuff, or one of your friends gets ready to go buy some of this stuff to help the immune system, say, why don't you just take and pour some salt out of your salt shaker and lick it, because it's going to do about the same thing. Now, some compounds do a little bit better. Astragalus, otherwise known as loco weed, pterostilbene, that's an extract actually from resveratrol, and also curcumin. If you ladies, and maybe the men too, cook a lot, you probably use turmeric. Well, curcumin is actually an extract from turmeric. And again, if you take enough of it, it will have some immune response. But this is the glucan. It has a much more significant immune response than any of the others. In fact, if you up the dose, up the dose, up the dose, this immune response will actually go higher. These won't. These are basically where they're going to be in regards to your immune response. So this is just one of the many studies, and what those studies have shown us. As I scroll back up, you'll see a lot of studies on a lot of different topics. There are 5 double-blinded placebo studies on children. Any of you have children? Any of you have grandchildren? Again, randomized double-blinded placebo trials with children on upper respiratory tract infections, things like ear infections, sore throats. Think about how many kids are going to get up in the morning with ear infections, sore throats, again, all these upper respiratory tract infections, and their mom and dad's going to pick up the phone and call and ask for a prescription for antibiotics. Again, what are we doing? Are we brushing and flossing our teeth? Or are we just going to get another cavity filled? Because in effect, that's what's going on. And then downstream, as that child gets older, the damage that's done to the gut by the overuse, abuse, and misuse of antibiotics are going to lead to a lot of bowel problems, killing off the good gut flora, leading to irritable bowel, leading to colitis, leading to Crohn's disease. And the parents just, oh, woe is me. You know, we took so good care of Junior when he was growing up. How could this happen to our baby? Well, again, you go back to the immune system. So as you go up the list, and again, this is only a fraction. And Shar, I think you've got some of these that have actually been printed.
Right. Printed the whole thing.
This one. Okay. Okay, which is this one. This one. All right. I hope that we have you back, and you have me back, and I have you back.
Yep, we can see you.
Okay, very good. Now, can everybody in the room do what I just did?
No. What did you do? What do you mean?
That's a good thing that we're recording this.
Oh, bed? Oh, yeah, we can all do that.
So, well, Shar can teach you how to do what I just did. She's very adept at it. Shar, when you and I first talked just a few weeks ago, did you have any idea that any of this even existed?
No, I didn't, and I'm just blown away by all of that, all of what you've been teaching us.
Well, and I appreciate your kind words, but this stuff is there without me. Okay, I could get run over by the proverbial concrete truck coming around the corner. Research will continue to be done on beta glucan, and the seminal research, the research that is most relevant and the cutting edge, will be on the product that I've helped develop. And that's the little tidbit that I bring to the party. Is 20 years ago, that little pill that cost $198 plus shipping and handling, you can get a bottle full of those pills, RVB 300, for $55. It's a very affordable compound, so that's why they let me put my name on a lot of bottles, I guess, so it wouldn't hurt my feelings. But the work that we do is not just restricted to the food supplement or the health industry. We also have with my company a division that works on the pharma side, where we've got, like, I think it's 58 different locations here in the U.S. and around the world where we're actually developing an injectable version of the compound that's in your bottles. We're now moving into phase 3 human trials as an adjuvant for cancer. So again, this is not, a one-hit wonder, something that, some mysterious tree and we carved this green muck off the magical side of some tree, and we can only get this magical muck from this one tree off the magical side of some magical mountain and put it in a bottle. This is backed up by the hardest science in the world. Again, the double-blinded placebo crossover studies. There is no harder obstacle to overcome in getting this kind of research done. And again, I emphasize this research is on our product, the product that's in your bottles that you talk to people about. So we've kind of hit on a broad range of things. I've been talking about 45 minutes. So now it's your turn. You bring to me your questions, what you think about what you've heard. I know we've got some brand new folks here tonight, as well as some people that have heard this presentation, or it's a little bit different than it was the last time, which I endeavor not to put you to sleep. So what questions can I answer for you?
How do I sign up for your human trial?
I'm sorry, your voice is just a little bit distorted because you're a little far away. So if you could repeat that one more time, please.
How do I sign up for your human trial?
Oh, okay. Well, actually, that's not left up to me. We've actually got 2 independent entities that run the clinical trials for us. We have no input in it. They have their own unique selection process, and they run the clinical trials totally independent of us, which, if you think about it, is pretty cool, because like the Bayer Drug Company that ran their stuff with HIV out to everybody, they run their own clinical trials. They'll go into universities and hospitals and pay tens of millions of dollars for the research. Well, when a company goes in and they pay for the research, and the research doesn't come out exactly like they want it to, guess where it goes? Or more importantly, guess where it doesn't go? It doesn't go on PubMed. It never sees the light of day. So they go back and they say, well, here's another $10 million. Do it again. Do it again. Do it again, until a result that is acceptable to them. And then that's what you see go up on PubMed. So the work that I've demonstrated to you, shown to you, I don't pay for it. My company doesn't pay for it. We don't call the shots. The only thing that I contribute is that I take my product and I ship it to the university, or I ship it to the teaching hospital and so forth. What they do with it after that, I have no input. When a new study comes out, they will give me the courtesy of an email and say, oh, here's a copy of the new study. And believe it or not, if I want to get hard copies reproduced, I have to pay about $2 or $3 a piece, even though I gave it. So anyway, just a little tidbit there. But this is very, very contrary to what a lot of companies do in drug research. Is, well, one thing, I know I'm a snazzy dresser, but I don't have hundreds of millions of dollars. Okay, so it's good that you folks, buy my product. It's good that you folks are such great contributors in regards to your taxes, and that's what helps to fuel. I doubt that any of you have actually written a check to a major university to do research. If you have, then bravo for you. There's a lot of that done, by the way. There's a lot of philanthropists out there that make those kinds of donations. So, what other questions?
How long do you have to be on this product before your immune system will be kicked in, and if it kicks it in or activates it, can you get off of it?
Well, that's a good question. the research is well documented on that. From the time you take your first dose, it takes about 72 hours, depending on the size of the dose you took, to take you up to a certain level of immune response. And your dose is regulated based upon how much you weigh. Okay, so the more you weigh, the more product you have to take to get your immune system up. Now, there's a point to where the immune system won't go any higher, and the dose curve just kind of flattens out. So you start off with just a little dose, you get a little bit of immune response, more dose, it goes up, more dose, it goes up, more dose, it goes up. But at some point, it won't go up anymore, no matter how much you use. And we know how much that is. The reason we know this is like everything else I'm explaining to you, is because we test it. And we test it, and we test it, and we test it. And making sure that the results are solid, reproducible. They're tested not just in one zip code, they're tested at multiples of institutions around the country and around the world. And so that's why I can speak with such significant authority when I give you this information, because it's tested, and that information is again available to you there on the PubMed. How long you need to take it? I don't know. I would compare it with how long you think you need to brush your teeth. You can knock off brushing your teeth anytime you want to. You'll go back to baseline, and you'll be going back to the dentist to get your cavities filled. So you literally determine, do I want my immune system down here where it's been, or would I like to raise my immune response a little bit more, or a lot? Now, if I'm getting ready to take a trip, get on an airplane, I know I'm going to be breathing in what 200 other people just breathed out. I'm probably going to want to take my higher dose to get a higher immune response to give me more protection. But if I'm just sitting around the house, flipping channels, watching, reruns of the last ship or whatever, then I may not have to take as much. But because I understand the relevance of the immune system, not just with cancer, our topic today is very, very narrow on cancer. But think of colds, sore throats, the flu. Think of the aging process. Think of allergies. Think of repair from injury and insult, both externally and internally. All of these things are mitigated by your immune system. People that heal slowly, people that heal incompletely, those are people whose immune systems are not working up to speed. So let me tell you something. The big wide world out there is full of people who have immune issues. They just don't know it. And then one day they wake up and say, oh my gosh, I've got hebedibiosis, which I just made up.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm good when I make it up. I say that with authority too. But then I tell you when I make something up.
About I don't know if you can hear me or not. About 3 years ago, I had practically no immune system. It was really, really low, okay? My doctor put me on vitamin D3, 500,000 units twice a week. Since then, I have not had a cold or anything. It's amazing. But what I wanted to ask you is, if I decided to take your supplement or your product, then do I have to stop the vitamin D3? Can you do both? How does that work?
Okay, that's a great question. Vitamins in the body have special functions. Most of those functions have to do with not only all the juices and goo that the body makes, but also helping to maintain good healthy tissue and organs and bones. Like vitamin D. You have to have a certain amount of vitamin D to go with the calcium, for example, and other things to be able to make bones. And bones wear out and have to be replaced. And so when the doctor checked your blood, and by the way, probably 20 years ago, that would have never happened. 20, 25 years ago, things like vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin E, all the medical professionals scoffed at it. Oh, you get all the vitamins you need out of your food. Well, I guess you're one of those people that's just been eating out of trash cans all your life because you wasn't getting enough vitamin D, right? We also get vitamin D when we go out in the sun. Well, I know you guys live in an area where it gets a little chilly sometimes, and you may not want to skin off too much like we do down here in South Carolina. Probably 9 months out of the year, you know, I can walk around in short sleeves and be real comfortable. But getting out in the sun for Caucasians is going to help you, you know, 20, 30 minutes daily is going to help you produce a lot of vitamin D. So you actually had a deficiency in an essential vitamin. If you had a deficiency in vitamin C, for example, you may develop scurvy. If your vitamin D deficiency was bad enough, long enough, you might develop rickets. Okay, so these are things where vitamins and minerals having special functions in the body simply to maintain and support good, healthy bone and tissue. Now, on the other side of the coin, remember we got the sheepdog. Now, the sheepdog, he has to be maintained as well with nutrition, but your sheepdog might be lazy. And so where you were in a deficient situation, which contributed to your poor immune response, what we're talking about is even with a healthy person who's got a reasonably decent immune response, using this product, they can raise their immune response here. They can take a little bit more and raise their immune response here. They can take a little more and raise their immune response even higher. You say, well, AJ, if I'm healthy, quote unquote, why would I want to enhance or further activate my immune system? Well, have y'all flown on an airplane lately? Have you eaten in a restaurant lately? Have you gone and been places into a bathroom or other places where you kind of look around and say, boy, I need to get out of here as quickly as possible? I'm not talking about dark alleys either. Do you wonder sometimes how your food is being prepared? Do you wonder when you go to the grocery store how that food was grown? Even with, all this organic and so on and so forth, all those terms are cute and they give you comfort, but to get those claims when the food is tested, the government has set up minimum levels, and if the food exceeds those levels, then they don't get to keep their all organic sticker. But the levels of pesticides and other chemicals can be down here, and you're going to eat them all day long, and it's still going to have that cute little organic sticker on it. That may be shocking to you, but I do a radio show every Tuesday, and I was traveling, and in my stead, I had the head chemist of the South Carolina Department of Agriculture fill in for me, and she turned the light on for a lot of people that think that when they go in and they're buying certain quality things, that's just not true. And again, nobody's really looking over the shoulder. It's only when they exceed the federal limits is when there's a problem. So I think that as long as you'd want to brush your teeth, you'd want to use some level of immune support. And this material has proven itself, again, in disinterested third parties doing the testing, to be the superior compound out there.
So what you're saying is I can still continue to take the vitamin D3 at the levels I take it at, and also take the other product and not have any adverse effect?
No. In fact, my material won't interact with any compound. Vitamins, prescription drugs, and again, not to get into too much chemistry, but the material is actually a complex carbohydrate. Think of a fiber. And the human digestive system can't break down fiber. When you take it, and again, you'd go back and revisit that 2.5-minute video that I showed you that was on the Vita site, you watch that over and over again, you'll see that it's actually the immune cells that take it up in the gut. They're the ones that break the material down into a water-soluble molecule, and that's what activates the glucan receptor. There's nothing in your body besides those immune cells that can break this material down, so it can't react with anything else. It's probably safer than the water you drink. So nutrition is over here. This material, in no manner, shape, or form, is a nutrient. You have a requirement in your body for vitamin D and also other compounds. But there is no requirement for beta-glucan. But beta-glucan does something that all this stuff over here cannot and will not do.
Got it. I have a question. So I want to keep drinking my liter of Coca-Cola every day. Is that gonna, is it worth for me then to use your product?
If you want to drink your liter of Coca-Cola, I would suggest adding a little bit of Jack Daniels to it. And, you know, that way when the negative effects set in, you won't care. But hey, as a group,
your immune system.
Yeah, as a group though, you all may want to pool together and get a life insurance policy out on you, so that, you know, it's kind of like a lottery, but it's more of a sure thing. Okay, it's all about how much time. It's not what's going to happen, is what day.
So my point is if you're taking this product to boost your immune system and you're not willing to make dietary, nutritional, lifestyle changes to support your immune system, you know, is it worth it for people to do this? That's my question.
Well, and that's a great question. Use any what-if scenario, and I think that, you know, the liter of Coke is a great example. Smoking, another great example. Drinking a bottle of Jack Daniels, another great example. You will fare better, all other things being equal, with this compound than without it. In other words, the immune system will help to mitigate some of that damage that you have elected to do to yourself. And, you know, there will be a better quality of life and arguably a longer life. Can I tell you that you'll never develop diabetes, that you'll never develop cardiovascular disease? No, because, you know, what do you think you can get for $55? You know, if I was smart enough to make something you'd never get sick, you know, I'd be sending you guys a postcard from some island I bought named Australia.
I have a couple questions.
Sure.
First of all, is there a test that can be done to see what level your immune system is at?
There's actually a series of tests. There's not just a single test. There's a whole long list. The prices start usually around $3,000 to $5,000 and can go up to around $15,000 to $20,000 to run, you know, to run the whole panel of tests.
Okay. Okay. So there is, but it's very expensive.
Oh yes. Yes, very, very expensive.
You probably won't do it until you are in dire need of knowing.
Well, let me explain it to you this way. Would you need to test whether or not Tyrannosaurus Rex was a meat eater to believe it?
I don't know. I imagine, yeah. Was it what?
You would have some question in your mind, even though every piece of evidence suggests that he was a meat eater. You'd still want to have it tested.
I don't know. I never thought of it.
Well, this isn't really a trick question. I guess what I'm getting at, if places like Harvard, Tulane, University of Louisville, McGill, Brown University, plus countless places in Europe, Southeast Asia, Japan, Australia, have done these kinds of tests on healthy people as well as people who have challenges, not just cancer, but every kind of condition, it is a known fact that immune response will vary with conditions. And those conditions will worsen if the immune system is not up to challenge. So you could go out and spend $25,000 once a year to kind of measure where your immune system is, or you could just read the instructions on the side of the bottle, take the recommended dose, and your immune system, if you're taking it according to the instruction, is going to be as high as it can get. And the reason I know this is because we've already tested it.
Okay.
We know after thousands and thousands and thousands of assays on everything from earthworms to mice to dogs, cats, horses, cows, humans, even children, we know at a dose where your immune response could be. So all you would be doing is simply verifying that Harvard was correct.
Okay. My next question is, you hear a lot about diseases being caused by the autoimmune system, like it's an autoimmune disease.
Yes.
Is that basically the low immunity? Is that basically what that is saying?
Okay, there are 3 circumstances, and it's a short list of situations where we would not recommend our product. One is in the face of autoimmune disease, particularly if that autoimmune disease person is taking medication to shut down immune response, like prednisone, cortisone, methotrexate. Another category would be people who have undergone transplants or grafts. Again, those people are more than likely going to be on anti-rejection drugs. What anti-rejection drugs, in fact, do is shut off immune response. And then the third category would be a woman who is pregnant. So those 3 categories, autoimmune disorder, transplants, and pregnancy. You say, well, why pregnancy? Had a great friend of mine as a medical doctor 25 years ago. He was my medical doctor up until about 10 years ago. And it took me another 10 years to find a medical doctor that, I felt was competent enough to that I could trust. And it's great. It's a lady, very wonderful lady. But Dr. Short was his name. Dr. Short said, I wouldn't recommend a glass of water to a woman who's pregnant. And I'll tell you why. If anything goes south, if anything goes sideways, anything happens to that woman or the child, it's not going to be the 15 different prescription medications that the doctor's got her on. It's going to be the food supplement. It's going to be the glass of water. Does that make sense? Sometimes pregnancy is one of those things where something goes sideways.
So what is autoimmune disease? What is it versus just having a low immunity? What's the difference?
All right, auto means self.
Yes.
So that means that your immune system is attacking you.
Yes.
With alopecia, it's the attacking of hair follicles and hair falls out. Sometimes it's in spots, sometimes it's all over. With rheumatoid arthritis, it's the attacking of the cushion and the connective tissue in the joints and inflammation, causing those joints to get very nasty and ugly. Lou Gehrig's disease, the attack of the anterior horn cell, ALS, MS, the amyloid tissue and so forth. I mean, there's a wide variety where the immune system, there's like 80 going on 100, where the immune system has violated the golden rule, and that is do self no harm. It's not a low or deficient immune system. It's an immune system that has decided to attack some portion of your body, some tissue, some organ, and over time.
You don't think it's like it wouldn't be like a deficiency in something else? what would cause you, what, do they know why it does that?
No. And in fact, again, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but I hang around some of the smartest people in the world. None of them know either. There's nobody that can explain the why of autoimmune disorders. We know everything there is to know about the symptoms associated with it.
Mm-hmm.
And standard of care basically is generally about shutting down the immune response, because we've identified the fact that the immune system, for whatever reason, is running amok and attacking.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know why. We don't know if there's some subclinical infection of some virus hidden, or whether some heavy metals down in there or some toxin or whatever. Just don't know. There's a lot of great theories. Some of those theories are very convincing, but it's not proven.
Okay.
I fall into the category of proof. You know, I can take a thermometer and stick it in something and prove the temperature. I can take scales and weigh something and prove the weight. There's all kind of great instrumentation where properly calibrated, and you test it to be before you use it to test. I believe in things that I can measure, and I'm able to repeat those measures. Since we don't know what causes autoimmune disorders, I think we're a heck of a long way from curing it. To cure something, you got to know what the problem is, not just the symptoms. See, if you didn't know it was bacteria causing the cavities, you keep going to get fillings, and you never worry about brushing and flossing, would you?
Mm-hmm.
Except to get the finish out between your teeth.
Okay. Thank you.
Absolutely.
I have rheumatoid arthritis. And when I discovered that I had cancer, I was told I had to get off of that medicine completely. I was on methotrexate and Remicade, the infusion treatments. And once I started my treatments, I started feeling really, really good. And then I was not cancer-free, but I was through with my program. But I noticed my arthritis and one of my ankles was real bad. I went back to my rheumatologist, and I asked her if I could start the medicines again. And she said, no. She recommended nothing.
Yeah, some of these pharmaceuticals, in fact, many pharmaceuticals are going to be reactive and cross-reactive with one another. One of the deficiencies out there in the drug world is they'll take a single drug and run it out there in 5,000 people that aren't taking 20 other drugs. And then you come in, and the doctor, every time he sees you, he's ripping up something off his prescription pad. And you got like 2 arms full of bags coming out of the pharmacy after a while. I'm speaking from experience. My mother at one point was on 22 different prescription medications. And even though I wore a white jacket, she was paying attention to me. If you paid attention, even Jesus had to leave town before anybody to pay attention to what he had to say, right? So, your parents seldom pay much attention to you. But let some stranger that was educated 300 miles away come into the room, they'll take what they have to say for gospel. And that's largely what happens with people is they show up in the doctor's office and they say, here I am, heal me. They surrender the responsibility, which is theirs. You bear the responsibility. You are your own best advocate. And you bear the responsibility of clearly understanding what's going on and why it's going on. Don't ever lose track of the fact that the doctor works for you, not vice versa. And if you're working with a physician or a team and so forth, and it seems that it's not that way, then believe me, the telephone book's full of them. Just, they're like buses. Just wait a few minutes, another will come by. So really take charge. And like in your circumstance, you know who the expert really is it's not going to be the medical doctor. It's going to be your pharmacist. The doctor is the expert in the area of diagnosis and giving prognosis, doing operations and so forth. The pharmacist, though, is the expert in drugs and drug interactions. So make a note, you write it down. Anytime you have a question about your medication and multiples of medications, you call your pharmacist, and I hope that you only use one pharmacy so that they got all your records in one place. And you sit down and you have a clear understanding with that pharmacist on what you're taking, what it's supposed to do, how it's supposed to work, any side effects that you should be on the lookout for, and possible interactions with other things, including food supplements. I mean, there's a lot of herbals and so forth out there that will actually negate a lot of prescription medications, and people don't talk to their, now of course the doctors typically say, well, don't take anything except what I tell you. Well, that's not right either. But the pharmacist is charged, and believe me, will know what is and what isn't okay to use with whatever prescription regimen you might be on. Okay?
And I did know that about the pharmacist. I did realize anytime I have a problem, I call him first.
I tell you, you know, it may sound a little self-serving, but pharmacists are some of the smartest people in the world. You know, you got to take all the classes that a biology major takes. You have to take all the classes that a chemistry major takes. You have to take all the classes that someone who in physiology and so forth. But there's a divergence at some point to where you're going to study more on what they call pharmacokinetics, pharmacology, pharmacognosy, and so forth, where the doctor goes off and spends more time on physiology. And back when I was in school, they said, AJ, you don't practice medicine, you don't give any prescription, or you don't give any diagnosis or prognosis, and we won't let the doctor sell pills. Well, they didn't keep their side of the deal. Doctors are selling you stuff hand over fist because many times they get perks for writing a bunch of prescriptions. And that might be one of the things that you want to look into as you shop for doctors. You want to find a doctor that's not famous at the hospital, not favored at the hospital, because the majority of his patients end up in the hospital. You want a doctor that the hospital doesn't particularly like. Maybe they don't even want to give hospital privileges because none of his patients ever go to the hospital. That's the doctor that you may want to seriously consider. Okay?
I have a question for Joelle, my mother. She has RA, but she also has cancer. Can she take your product?
That is a typical case of being between the devil and the deep blue sea, the frying pan and the fire. And she's taking prednisone, cortisone, things like that for the RA?
No, I'm really.
No, she is not.
No, not anymore.
Not for the RA, no.
Are we absolutely positive that the diagnosis is correct?
No. I was sort of wondering about that because when I did go back to her and I wanted to start my medicine again, she just said, you don't have it. I didn't realize you could get rid of
That's, you know, you don't get kind of pregnant and you don't have kind of autoimmune disorders. You either have them or you don't. And so, again, it's tough to really move forward down the field if we're not carrying the right ball. If we're on a football field and we got a soccer ball up under our arm, there's a problem. So if we're operating under the pretense that you've got rheumatoid arthritis and cancer, that's a whole set of consideration different than if you've got hemodibiosis, not autoimmune disorder, and cancer. So I would have to reserve my answer to say, if the other diagnosis is incorrect and you do not have an autoimmune disorder, then you would be fine to use the product. If you do in fact have an autoimmune disorder and cancer, well, that's a decision you're going to have to weigh the, again, devil deep blue sea, take a choice.
One more question with the RA.
Yes.
Is there a test, a blood test you can take to determine it? Because I believe that's how I was diagnosed.
There's actually a battery of tests. There's a test for particular antibodies. There's a test for, in the old days, they used to call it SED rate. Now they've got C-reactive protein. But there's actually, I tell you what, if you go to, oh gosh, if you can I do a screen share again? Okay, follow me on this. We're going to share the screen. And I'm going to open up another tab here. Right. Okay, and I'm gonna type in RA and let's see, drugs. There's all kind of great sites, and I always want you to go to sites that are put up by universities and hospitals. I don't want you going to commercial sites. Something like maybe WebMD, even though that's kind of borderline. But they do categorize things. And you see here on the left where it says diagnosis and tests. If we click on that, you're going to see a series of tests that can be run. Ooh, let me get rid of this. Well, I see you're going to see some tests. Where'd they put them? Try one. Okay, let's get out of that. I'm going to try to open this tab one more time. And I'm going to go to Google. You guys are still seeing my
Yep, we see Google.
okay. Okay, here's one here that the Mayo Clinic has. And let's see if we can come up here. Okay, here we go. So here we go into a series of blood tests that they'll explain briefly. So what I would do is I would take notes, or maybe just print this page. Like I talked about the SED rate. Here they're talking about rheumatoid arthritis tend to have an elevated erythrocyte sedimentation rate, or SED rate. That indicates the presence of an inflammatory process. Another common blood work would be what's called rheumatoid factor. And also, well, don't get hung up all these fancy words. Suffice it to say that between x-rays and 3 or 4 accurate blood tests, you should be able to narrow down pretty well what is and what isn't. So, okay, so we've got you guys back now. So again, don't be going to commercial sites. Always go to like the mayoclinic.org or some other hospital or university site that is on topic with rheumatoid arthritis. But there should be 3 or 4, and again, be a good conference topic for your pharmacist. He's going to be up to speed and probably can recommend some testing facilities, because a lot of these tests you may or may not require a prescription. I can't imagine that a doctor would object to you doing blood work like this, but then the blood work again has got to be properly translated. So a lot of people are treated for a lot of conditions that they don't have, and it gets worse from there. There's a word called iatrogenic disease. That's where you go into the hospital with A and you come out with X, Y, and Z. Okay, and a lot of bad things happen in hospitals, folks. Try to stay out of the hospital. So let me take 1 or 2 more questions.
Is there some place where you can see what all the autoimmune disorders are?
Yeah, you could just Google autoimmune disorders, but again, don't go to a commercial site. Go to a .org site that's powered by, and you'll see in the link if it's a university or a hospital that's powered, because that way you don't get all that commercial garbage and you don't get information that's commercially slanted. You're getting reliable facts, but there's a lot of them. There are a lot of them. Again, the common underlying issue, for whatever reason, is the immune system is attacking self. And you've got conditions of the skin, you've got conditions of the brain. I mean, you got conditions of just about every part of your body where the immune system has broken that rule. Okay? And people generally know if they do or they don't.
Okay.
I have a question. You talked a little bit about the vitamin mineral issues relative to cancer specifically, and about your product. But do you have any comments on fucoid? Obviously, a product that Longevity has in its arsenal, and how it might fit in the overall picture.
Well, again, that's one of those situations where we actually have tested the product. In fact, we tested, I think there was about 5 or 6 different products. Restart Your Life came on board back in October, but a rep with Longevity had actually reached out to me. I was actually the co-founder along with Joyce Cordell, her husband Wade. They handled the sales side. I manufactured all their products. And so the question came up of, well, what other products does Longevity have now that their primary focus is enhancement or support of the immune system? And so they scoured and came up with about 5 or 6 of them. And we do like we do everything else. We sent them to the university, and the university evaluated them and issued a written evaluation report. So rather than comment, I would be happy to send you a copy of the university results. Just send an email to Lanigan@sc.rr.com. Shar has my email address, and just mention our little get together this evening, and you want to see the university evaluations of other Longevity products having to do with the immune system. They've got like 2,500 products, and again, I'm a snazzy dresser, but not made out of money, so can't test them all. But that was of particular interest, and let me suffice it to say that all the products worked. The question is, how much would you have to take? And the answer would be an incredible amount. Even if you took as much as you could swallow, it still wouldn't come up to say the effect of just taking the RVB 300 at our lowest dose.
Thank you.
Certainly. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we're moving on close to tomorrow here where I live. It's been a pleasure. I really appreciate the opportunity to come and share with you. And you've got my email. And Shar, I think you've got a copy of the book there. Let me just show it. Beta Glucan, Nature's Secret. This is actually the second edition of a book. And within this book, you're going to have an entire chapter, for example, on cancer. You're going to have, just as that video showed you, talked about the beta glucan receptor. That's actually a rendition of what that receptor looks like. And it shows you where the glucan molecule binds. There's just an incredible amount of information. And I would tell you this book, there's no price that you can put on it and the information that's in it. This book, along with the Vita website, is really all you need in regards to information, not only for yourself, but also to use as a tool to teach other people. And I'm often asked, by the folks in sales, say, well, look, we're interested in, building a larger customer base and so forth. Well, how do we do that? I said, well, it's very simple. You give people information for which they see benefit for themselves. See, I've been doing this for 1996, so coming up, 20 years next year, July 4th, actually, holiday. And I've got the same customers that I had 20 years ago, 19 years ago, 18 years ago, 15 years ago, their children, now their grandchildren. And it's a great scenario and you don't have that kind of loyalty. I sometimes joke, I said, well, the people just feel sorry for me, so that I can afford better clothes, or, they know I got a daughter that just got out of college. They know I got an ex-wife. They know I got a beautiful girlfriend from the Ukraine, and they all, cost a lot of money. So they feel sorry. So they keep buying my product 20 years later. Not so. I don't think any of you would buy any of my pills or potion because of my ex-wife, which, by the way, we get along beautifully now. But it is a great thing. And I think what Dr. Wallach has done is miraculous. He has a message that resonates with so many people. And that message coincides with my message. Now, his message is broader. And I think, Steve and the rest of the corporate team have done an incredible job of juggling all these different things that they have to juggle inventory wise and all these other things they have to do. But certainly Dr. Wallach, paved the way. He's the one that parted the waters so that everybody could safely walk through. And see, that's where you all stand today. You stand in a path that has been cleared, but it is not completed, and it's left up to you folks to complete the work. It's one thing to cut down a bunch of trees and be able to see the other side, but there's a lot of stumps that's got to be dug and pulled. And so that's kind of where we're all today. And my areas of expertise is in the area of the immune system. And I would tell you this in regards to, using these products. You walk in the house and you equate the use of my product to flipping on the lights. You don't need 10 or 15 other products to flip on the lights. You have flipped on the lights. Go wash the clothes. Go get the dishes out of the dishwasher. Go deal with the vitamin C deficiency or the vitamin D deficiency or whatever deficiencies that you've got going on. Those are other tasks. You have finished and you have done all you can do relevant to what, we've talked about tonight with the immune response. So with that, Shar, thank you again so much for inviting me in. And I look forward to hearing from each and every one of you. Like I say, you've got my email, so please stay in touch. I look like this, maybe a little younger on my Facebook page, and I was actually wearing a tie, but when you look at somebody that looks like me, go ahead and friend up, and we'll be able to stay in touch like that too. So everybody be safe.
Thank you so much, AJ. You're amazing.
Good night.
Great.